Most people throw this out without even thinking twice. But before you toss another toilet paper roll, let me show you what happened when I challenged myself to turn these into home decor. And honestly, even I was surprised by the results. Hi, I'm Loli. Let's create something beautiful and find a little joy along the way. For this project, I'll be using paper towel rolls. They are pretty much the same as a toilet paper roll, just longer. So these pieces here, I had two pieces. One was 27 inches and the other one was 18 inches. So I decided to cut them into 9-inch pieces. Here you'll see how I measured it, and it was exactly 27 inches. So I marked the 9-inch intervals on both of these pieces and then cut our tubes. I'm going to flatten everything here, so it's just quite easier to cut it, and I'm making sure that I can see the little marks where the 9-inch pieces are, and I make sure to keep my scissors nice and straight. So I turn this into 3 pieces and the other one into 2 pieces. Now I'm going to cut each one of these along the seam and both sides. So I'm going to turn this one piece into 2 pieces. And then I'm going to cut those into 2 pieces as well. So from each one of these rolls, I am getting 4 pieces. But I ended up cutting only 4 of these and leaving one undone. Then I took each of these pieces and folded them in half, as you see there. And I'm going to make a curvature in the top. So I'm just going to curve this. It's going to keep cutting it, as you see there, going in an angle until I have it curved like this. And it looks kind of like a finger. And we're going to do the same thing with all of them. Now we're going to take the piece that we left uncut, and I'm going to add hot glue to the inside portion where we folded those pieces, and then draping right here at the top of this toilet paper roll. Then I'm going to take another piece, do the same thing, but we're going to offset it a little bit further down. I'm going to keep doing this, but it's important that you try to keep your roll as, circular as possible, as you see there. So that way our pieces will be not on top of each other, but they will continue to be offset. And I just continued to do this until I went all the way around. In the beginning here, it was tighter than I wanted. Here you'll see me as I'm going along, I'm kind of leaving a little bit more space in between, like from one to the other, because I don't want this to be too tight at the end. You'll see here in a second, it will make sense in a second what I mean. So I just continued to drape them, as you see there, until I went all the way around the entire toilet paper roll. And then I had a couple left over, so we're going to continue to close that loop, adding it in other places so everything is nice and symmetrical when we are done. The more that you add to this, the thicker it's going to get, and also the more closed at the beginning or the middle of this will become as well. And here you can see how I was trying to keep everything nice and circular as I was going along. Now we are going to trim off the excess toilet paper roll that we have here. So I just created a slit on both sides, one here, one on the other side, being very, very careful that I do not cut any of the pieces that are inside of that roll. Then I'm going to cut that piece off, starting with one of the slits at the same height as the other pieces are. So we're just removing the excess from here, and we are left over with this beautiful rose look. But we need to form it. So I'm going to just start carefully bringing down each one of those petals, as you see there. And later on, I'm going to come in and curve them properly. But for now, I just want to open everything up so I can get to that piece of toilet paper roll that we just cut off. So here I'm bringing in the pencil, and this just makes it have that beautiful petal look. It gives you that better curvature that the rose petals have. And I think it's a game changer when you do it this way. And I just did that with all the layers until that piece that did not have any petal formation to it was uncovered. Now that we can see the roll properly, we are going to carefully cut off little notches in between, trying to keep pieces that are circular in between the other petals so it looks like the rest of the other petals. We just forming petals after the fact, pretty much, by just cutting the notches and making sure that those pieces that are left back a circular. I do have to say to please be careful when you're doing this that you do not cut pieces off of the petals on there because it's quite easy to do that. So just pay attention to your surroundings as you're doing this, and then just take your time. If you have smaller scissors that a little bit sharper than mine, you can use that. My little scissors did not have the strength to do this, so I just used this. But just be very careful. Here's an instance in which I'm being extremely careful to not cut existing petals off on there. And once I was done, then I'm going to go ahead and continue to curve the other petals all the way around. And this is what we ended up with. Look how beautiful that's looking, right? I'm going to take some of this gold spray paint and paint my rose with it. This is all dry. My idea was to put a tea light candle in the back of it so it will glow. Unfortunately, it did not work out that way. It was not big enough. It did not fit my candle. I put some fairy lights in there instead, and look how beautiful this looks. I love it. For this one, we'll be using 2 of these toilet paper rolls. We are going to flatten them, making sure that all of the edges are leveled. Now we're going to slit this in half. And then we're going to slit that half in half. And then we're going to slit those halves in halves. So we're just going to create, strips as you see there, but just cutting them in the sequence in which I just showed you. And I did the same with the other roll as well. And I was left with 16 of these pieces. Now we're going to put them together. I'm going to add hot glue to one of the bottoms of one of these little leaves or petals. And I'm going to glue them together just as you see there. Then we're going to add some hot glue on the other side of that one. Then glue another one right here, making sure that all the ends are the same level. And then we're going to continue to do that all the way around, pretty much just mirroring the top section and the bottom section as well. So we have a nice symmetry between all of the petals. My friend, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to hit the like button. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're notified each time I upload a new video. All these things are free and they mean the world to me. And if you love it, don't forget to hype. Thank you so much. All right, so here we are. We're going to do it 3 times. We were left over with just a little piece of, this is some leftover toilet paper roll I had from a different project. So we are going to create small little pieces, as you see there, like little slices. They're about 1/4 inch size. And I did 18 of them for the amount of petals that I have. And I'm going to take each one of them and fold them in half as you see here to form this little bee. And here the background was so light that I had this change so you guys can see a little better. So here you can see I have made 24 of these bees. Now I'm coming in with these pipe cleaners from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to start putting this together. So I'm going to add these little bees, those little V's right here in the inside of each one of the petals of all of the flowers. So I just added a little bit of hot glue on that folded tip and lined it up with the middle of the petal and glued it right here to the back where all the other petals unite. And I did that all the way around with all 3 of the flowers. Now come in the pipe cleaners. I'm going to take these and I'm going to glue them in between 2 of the petals. I'm just going to add a generous amount of hot glue in there. Go ahead and put in my pipe cleaner in there and then sandwich it together and hold it in place until that dries. And I did the same thing with the other 2 as well. For these leftover pieces here, these are going to be my little leaves that go on my stem. So I added a little bit of hot glue right here on the side of my pipe cleaner and glued this little set of leaves right here. Then I repeated the same thing on the opposite side, but lower down. And this is going to be another little leaves right here as well. And I repeated this with the other 2 pieces also. Then I'm going to take some gold spray paint and paint them all. While that dries, I took this 2-pack of canvas that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use one of them, remove the packaging from it, and then paint it with a full coat of this full card rich black paint. Once it was all dry, we are going to put this all together. We're going to bring in our flowers, and I'm going to arrange them here. I want them to look like they are a bouquet. So we are going to line them up as here. And in order for them to fit nicely on the canvas, I'm going to make one taller and the other two a little bit lower down. But I want it to look as if it's an arrangement just sitting there. So once I'm happy with it, I'm going to start by adding a little bit of hot glue towards the end of the canvas and gluing down the stems right there. And then once that hot glue dries, I'm going to slowly add more hot glue on the back part of the pipe cleaners, and I'm going to attach them to the canvas. And I went one little bit at a time, making sure that the hot glue was dry before I lifted. Here you can see exactly what I mean. I'm lifting, bending, exposing the back of the pipe cleaner, and then putting it down. I also made sure to arrange my flowers in a way in which the leaves will not be touching as bad. So you'll see me here as I'm gluing it along. And here I'm just adding some on the pipe cleaner only. I'm not putting any on the little leaves because that will really show the hot glue, and that was not a pretty look. So here I just continue to do that until I went all the way up, and then I added a little dollop of hot glue on the back center of each of the flowers also, to make sure that that was also in place. Here is a better angle on what I mean by putting it at the center of the flowers. So right there, I added a dollop, yes, right on there. And here you can see a little bit better. So I'm just being very careful to be very thin on the pipe cleaner and generous right here at the top. And then place it exactly where you want it so you don't get any glue run-ins. And then we're going to cut off the excess pipe cleaner here from the bottom. And that is it for this one. Let me know what you think. I love it. No one will ever guess that I use a toilet paper roll for this project. I started with it, and I'm going to flatten it as you see there. And I'm making sure that the edges are flat with my scissors here and that the other ends are even. Then I'm going to slice it into about half an inch or quarter inch sizes. And I ended up cutting 8, but I only used 6. I'm going to take these and start forming them into a flower. These are going to be the petals. So I'm adding a little bit of hot glue on one of the ends and gluing it against the other end of the other one. And I kept doing this until I had all of these pieces united together. As I said earlier, I had started thinking that I was going to do 8 petals, but it was not having the shape that I wanted. So I ended up just using 6. You could use Eileen's Tacky Glue or any other kind of adhesive for this. I chose to use hot glue, so it will be a lot quicker for me to finish my projects. Once I had all these 5 combined together, I'm taking the 6th one and I'm going to place it right there opposite the first one we started with. And look how beautiful that's looking. This one is going to be nice and simple. But this is a 3-parter. I'm going to take a skewer, and I'm going to take one of the skewers and add it to in between 2 of the petals. So I'm adding some hot glue at the center of the petal edges there and also on the sides. And I'm going to sandwich my skewer in there using the tapered edge. And then I'm going to just pinch it together until that hot glue sets. Now I'm going to do a second one. I'm going to use leftover pieces of toilet paper rolls I had, and I'm going to cut them at about, I would say that's about 3 inches by 2 inches. And I'm going to form them as you see there. And these pieces here, I didn't have the way of, folding them in half like I did with the first one. So I just put them together and try to shape them the same way that I shaped the first one. Then I took the first one and I want to make sure that these have the same size. And the folded one was just slightly bigger. So I ended up just trimming that off to match the other 2. And I ended up doing 9 petals. Once I had all of my 9 petals cut out, I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue to the bottom of one of the petals and then attach the one on top, kind of like forming a heart in the angle in which I put them together. And I just continue to do that. But I did try to fold each petal like you see there, just so they have a bit more dimension. And I continue to do this until all the petals were attached and I had a perfect flower shape. For the last piece here, I just did it right at the center with the two pieces united, and look how beautiful that looks. I'm loving it. Then I'm going to add some hot glue in between two of the petals as well here, and we're going to add a skewer to that one also, sandwich it together, the two petals, and then let it dry. Now we're going to work on a third one. I'm going to take a leftover toilet paper roll and I'm going to flatten it as you see there. And then we are going to slice it like we did with the first one, but we are going to make it a little bit bigger because we want to do this a different variation, okay? So I said I did about half an inch on here. And I did a total of 12 pieces. We are going to form our flower as you see there using the petals. And once I knew exactly how I wanted them, I ended up with 6 again. I love the shape of this one. So that's what I did. And then I'm going to take the other pieces and I'm going to cut one of the edges where the folded part is. And I'm going to take a pencil or a skewer, whatever circular thing you have. And we're going to wrap that edge against that, as you see there. And I'm just going to go ahead and curve it down, keeping it nice and tight to form a little curly Q. And I'm doing the same thing with the other one, and they are both curling towards the inside. And I repeated that with all the remaining pieces. Look how beautiful that's looking. Now we are going to glue everything together. If you notice there, I kind of did a pattern which 2 of the pieces were kind of against the back of each other. And then here, I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue in the bottom section of that and gluing it down. And I did the same thing with the other ones. Now we're going to put the flower together. So we are adding hot glue right here on the end where the 2 petals will be touching each other. And I just kept doing that until those pieces were all attached as well. My friend, if you're enjoying this video so far, I will truly appreciate it if you will hit that like button and let me know in the comment section where are you watching from. I love to know how far my videos are reaching, and share because sharing is caring and it helps my channel grow. Thank you so much. All right, so now our flower is nice and complete with this last petal right here. And look how beautiful that is looking. But you know already, I'm not done yet. We are going to add a skewer to this one as well. I'm adding hot glue to the center of the flower there between the petals and on the sides. And we are going to go ahead and add the tapered side of the skewer in there and then press the 2 sides in place. And I just added a little bit of hot glue here on top just to reinforce it a bit more. And we have this beautiful trio. Then I took some spray paint, took it outside and paint them. Then I took this Dollar Tree vase and I'm going to paint it pearl with this acrylic paint. Now that is nice and dry, I'm going to come in with my rub and buff in the color Gold Leaf. I'm going to add a nice amount to my finger and then just run it across the entire top section here until I go all the way around. And look at this beauty. I love how this looks. The camera does not give it justice. We have here our 3 pieces painted gold. So I took some of these pearls that I got from Dollar Tree, and we're going to add one right here to the middle of our floral. And that is the perfect little touch. What do you think? Oh my God, I love it. And I did the same thing with this one right here. And of course, we're going to do the same to the other one also. I was thinking about adding more pearls, but I wanted to keep those very simple. All right, so now we are going to trim down our skewers so they have a nice length on our vase. We are going to position them in there, and that is it for this one. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this project. Will you recreate it? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, here are a couple more videos you are sure to enjoy. Thank you so much for stopping by. You're amazing. Bye.